Hi, I'm Skilla, and this is Nerd Stuff with Skilla, and today I want to talk about last week's episode of The Gifted called Extreme Measures. I know I'm late. It's been kind of a crazy week in which I neglected a lot of my responsibilities, and I'm sorry if you've been keeping up with The Gifted via these videos. This episode was okay, not my favorite. I think that the episode that comes on tonight is going to be a lot better, I really hope, because we're going to start seeing a lot of connections made from what the previews led us to believe. I'm just going to kind of do a rundown on how I felt about this episode. So if you haven't gotten caught up on The Gifted yet, then go and get caught up and then come back and watch this video. There are three main parts to this episode and then kind of a small quiet subplot that only has like 2 scenes, I want to say. Now that small plot is essentially a woman from the Department of Justice comes in and Campbell has one of his mutants give her like a brain aneurysm or something, and she is not capable of continuing the investigation that she was about to start, investigating into the laws that Jace and Campbell are kind of breaking in order to track down the Underground. And they just took her right out, gone. It shows you how powerful their group is and what a threat they present. So I thought that was good. Reed is helping look into a lot of different things, and he realizes that the dude that Lauren is kind of talking to has broken some laws in the past, and he's all butthurt about it, and he's just doing the, you know, dad who doesn't get it right situation where he just kind of approaches the situation in the wrong way. And Lauren goes and confronts Wes, and Wes kind of admits to it, and she's like, well, how am I supposed to trust you? We're teenagers, meh. And I didn't really care for that element of the episode. I just don't really care for Lauren getting into a romance at this point. It just didn't really speak to me, you know? Like, I didn't think that that was something important for us to cover when we got all these characters we could explore. It could have easily been replaced with giving us a little backstory on a mutant that we've seen several times, rather than Wes, who we've seen in, what, 2 episodes now? Let's talk about Shatter. Let's talk about Dreamer. Let's talk about somebody else who has something cool going on with them, rather than exploring a romance that isn't going to pertain to the overall plot very much from my perspective. And eventually Wes kind of comes clean, and they're like, it's cool, dude, you can stay. And there's like that whole cliche, Wes and Lauren are about to kiss, but then somebody interrupts them. And then later on at the end of the episode, she runs out to greet him and kiss him as he's leaving to go to another base. The next big plot is Eclipse helping Carmen blow up some drugs from a rival Russian gang, and we get to see him use his powers in a different way than we've seen before. We also see the mutant power of a dude who can stop time or slow time down in an area so that Eclipse can run in and blow up the stuff that he needs to blow up. As that's happening, Polaris is getting worried, and her and Dreamer show up to come and help Eclipse out of whatever dire situation he's in, and they see him kind of helping Carmen, and Carmen like showing him physical affection. And so Polaris is like, fine, let's go. And they have a little argument, and Eclipse explains himself, and fine, whatever. It was fine. I think I mentioned before, like, it's not my favorite thing in the world that the only Latin type character is involved with a drug cartel. I think that's really cliche. I think it's a bad move, but whatever. Whatever. I believe that one of the characters that he's based on was involved in cartels in the comic books, but that's not necessarily something you have to bring over to the TV show, in my opinion, anyway. I'm sure Polaris will have some misgivings about him in the near future, and I don't believe that he is safe from Carmen at this point, so we'll see her again, and we'll see her trying to manipulate him again, and whatever. The third part of this episode I really enjoyed. I think it's the only thing that made this episode good, and that is Thunderbird catches up with Blink and is helping her try to figure out what's up with the road that she kept on blinking to, right? And she's like, well, I'm just gonna leave. But he's trying to help her. So they come to the conclusion that maybe she would be helped by going back to a place that she remembers from her past. And that place is a foster home of sorts for mutant kids, and they get there, and Thunderbird catches a trail of who's been there before them, and Sentinel Services had showed up and laid waste to everybody who was there. Gone, dead, all of them. And it's really kind of striking and sad. And the two of them, I think, and I've said this before as well, but I think they have fantastic chemistry, and don't be surprised if at the end of this season or sometime in next season we see that the two of them hook up or get together or whatever, and Dreamer's little heart's gonna get broken. But I think that the two of them did a great job in this sequence of scenes. I really like that it gets Blink back on our side rather than running off on her own. I would have been okay if they'd let it go for another episode, but I think that they really needed that plot element to make this episode work. So next episode hopefully will be a lot better than this one and have a lot more stakes at play, seeing as I believe we are about to get a connection between these Strucker kids and these Strucker twins, which we've seen hints of in our actual characters from the comic books. And we're going to see their grandfather, I believe. And I think it's going to be sick. I can't wait. I think tonight is going to be one of the best episodes of the season. I'll be very disappointed if that is not the case. Make sure to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to hear about more nerdy stuff from me. Drop a comment down below if you want to have a conversation about The Gifted. And as always, thank you so much for watching.